Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath. Happy day. Oh, we thank God for another wonderful opportunity to join in worship this blessed Sabbath. I thank God for all of you who have come to church. May God bless you. Those who are joining us online, the Lord bless you too. It's long since I came here, and not much has changed apart from the fact that you've narrowed down the parking lot. That one I noticed distinctly. Apart from that, I think you're still normal. The heat is still there. And the message is still the same. We are preaching that Jesus is coming again. It's a welfare Sabbath. Thank you, welfare department, for considering my name in discussion and for deciding to have me come. It's not good to lie. I will just tell you the truth. I thought you had another option, so I was like, I wish you pick the other option. That was my hope. And when it landed on me, I said, so be it, Lord. And that's why I'm here today. Where's the pianist gone? He ran away. Pianist should have stayed here. This pianist has a good arrangement with the choristers. I wanted to ambush them with an item of music, and he's seeking to save them. They have no option. Technical team, give us the words to the song Sitting at the Feet of Jesus. Do you have it in Kiswahili or English? Then the technical team will tell me, preacher, you didn't prepare us. No. Miguuni pake Yesu. What is the key? Miguuni pake Yesu. Miguuni pake Yesu. Pake Yesu. Miguuni pake Yesu, maneno yake tamu, pahali palipo heri, niwepo kila siku. Miguuni pake nakumbuka upendo na hisani vyake kwangu, vimenivuta moyo. Miguuni pake Yesu, hapa pahali bora pa kuweka dhambi zangu, pahali pa pumziko. Miguuni pake Yesu, hapa nafanya sala, kwake napewa uwezo, faraja na neema. Unibariki Mwokozi, ni miguuni pako.
haki yangu.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we want to sit at your feet to hear you speak to us. And Lord, when we hear you speak to us, let's learn to be co-workers with you. And let's do what you want us to do for humanity, is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, the musical team. Quickly to the message of the hour, the sermon titled, The Responsibility of Doing Nothing. Our key text was from the book of 1 John chapter 3. Not characteristic with me to go to the key text first, but 1 John chapter 3 verses 10, the Bible says, "In this the children of God are manifest, and the children of the devil." Beloved, there are only two categories of human beings on planet Earth: the children of God and the children of the devil. Whosoever doeth not righteousness is not of God, neither he that loveth not his brother. For this is the message that you heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. Beloved, love is easy when you are preaching to young people. Youths and the younger category, definitely youth ministry and children ministry understand love easy. But this older group, it's difficult to explain love. But beloved, love is of essence. On a welfare Sabbath, we are talking love. This is what you need. In fact, welfare Sabbath is not about calculations. I know you can be helped by being told, give this amount and give this amount. It's love, beloved. Love does not look for calculations. In fact, I was about to correct the welfare leader that you should tell them that 200 is the bare minimum. You don't play on bare minimum, beloved. When you are a child of God, you don't subscribe to the bare minimum. Others can subscribe to the bare minimum, but you can't. You're a child of God. You want me to read too many texts and I have chronological limitants. I've been limited. In fact, I was shown in the program, you have 40 minutes. So, beloved, I'll not give you all the verses, but there is a verse tucked somewhere in the Bible that says, when somebody asks you to go 1 mile, go 2. You can't do the bare minimum on a welfare Sabbath. And if you're a child of God, welfare should be in your heart. I'm coming to the text. I've not started preaching. I'm still explaining what the sermon is about. Beloved, 1 John chapter 3, and reading from verses 12, it explains and says, not as Cain. Listen to this. When I am talking about love, not as Cain, who was of the wicked one, and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil, and his brother's works were righteous. Walk with me on the text so that we get to verse 17. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you. We know that we have passed from death unto life, because we love the brethren. He that loveth not his brother abideth in death. Oh, beloved, I don't know. I don't know about you. This doesn't happen in Nairobi East, okay? So I'm giving an example of some churches somewhere. Let's even say it's in Scandinavian countries. Let's talk big terms. Mongolia, maybe. Those are the places where they behave like this. But beloved, you see, love abides not in death. You cannot wait for me to die, then you come and love me by giving money, and yet I died of hunger. What is that? Please give me the money when I can appreciate, when I'm still alive. You come and feast during my funeral and I died of hunger. Shame on you. In fact, those who die of hunger, you should be fasting.
Don't go to the funeral and eat more than the person was eating when they were alive. Preacher, come slow. We may not invite you. Okay, let me go back to the text. Whoso hateth his brother is a murderer. And you know that no murderer hath eternal life that abides in him. Beloved, listen, you don't go to verse 17 before reading 14 and 15. 17 will talk about several things, but listen to 15 and 14. It says, if you hate your brother, you're a murderer. Murderers are not having eternal life. Can't be begging people to contribute in compassionate ministry. You can't. In fact, this should be something that is in your heart. The Bible says in verses 16 of 1 John chapter 3, hereby perceive we the love of God, because he laid down his life for us. We ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. Amen? Now, beloved, this is tough. But what do you expect of an Adventist church? The gospel has to be serious. It says, and I can quote, that because Jesus laid down his life, you must lay down your lives for the brethren. You and I are going to lay down our lives for the brethren. I know what you will tell me. Today I'm going to try and be as practical as possible within the text. I know what you're going to tell me, but preacher, I don't have enough money to give. You've not been reading. You see, when you don't have enough money, that's why there's prayer and fasting. You see, when you fast, you don't go without food for no reason. This is starvation. When you are fasting, the amount of money you should have spent on lunch, give it to welfare. It's simple. We are begging you for 200, you're taking lunch, and then you go to the gym to cut weight. Then you take, please. Listen, the gospel is even self-sustaining. When you fast, what you have saved on the day when you fast, give it to welfare. I know you're going to ask me, where will we get the money from? Just on that day, the money you are going to take, and please, ensure the day you are fasting is the day you are spending more. Let's go to the text. Lay down his life for his brethren. And beloved, here the Lord wants us in the church of God. Let's lay down our lives for the brethren. Welfare is about concern for others, not for myself. I know you'll say, but preacher, who will take care of me? Leave that to somebody else. Let's read it. But whoso hath this world's goods. Oh, preacher, this is the time you ask questions. How many of you have the goods of this world? Don't pretend like you don't know what I'm asking. How many have the goods of this world? Okay, church. No, please don't shout all. Just put up your hand if you know you have. If you know you have something in this world, put up your hand. You have something. You have something. Okay. I don't want to threaten you, but God is watching. You put down your hands, then tomorrow you want to be prayed for. God is watching. If you have this world's goods, now listen to this, and you see your brother having a need, and shutteth up your bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in you? Now answer the question. That's rhetoric. Listen, in fact, if you read the text, it doesn't even answer it. It's left like that because you can answer it by yourself. If you have the goods of this world and you see your brother in need and you do nothing about it, in fact, I like the text, you shut your bowels of compassion. Do you know what compassion is? Let me explain something. Too many of us have passion, but no compassion. I know you're saying play of words. Let me explain. Too many of us love prophecy. We can derive 666 even from Genesis. Love prophecy. Too many of us love health message, of which there is nothing wrong with it. The right arm of the three angels' messages. Too many of us love music, can sing at any time throughout. We have passion, but no compassion. In fact, let me explain. You've heard this said, oh, we went to the Adventist church, they don't love people. Too many of us have passion, but no compassion. And that is where we miss it. Oh, we are Christians. We follow after Jesus. Jesus, tell us something about compassion. Let me walk with you through Jesus and compassion. Because you're saying, oh, you know what? You need to just have sight for Jesus and do things for Jesus. Go with me to the book of Matthew chapter 9. In Matthew 9, reading from verses 36, but when he saw the multitude, he was moved with compassion on them because they fainted. They were scattered abroad as a sheep without a shepherd. Jesus was moved with compassion. Matthew chapter 14, reading from verses 14, the Bible says, Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude and was moved with compassion towards them, and he healed the sick. Jesus, compassion. Matthew chapter 15, reading from verses 32, the Bible says, then Jesus called his disciples unto him and said, I have compassion on the multitude, because they continue now with me for 3 days. They have nothing to eat. I will not send them away fasting, lest they faint in the way. Jesus. Our role model is Jesus. Had compassion. Matthew chapter 20, reading from verses 34, the Bible says, so Jesus had compassion on them, touched their eyes, and immediately their eyes received sight, and they followed him, Jesus. Mark chapter 1, reading from verses 41. Listen. The Bible says, and Jesus, moved with compassion, put forth his hand and touched him and said unto him, I will be thou clean. Jesus had compassion. What do you have? Jesus is our role model. You can't love Jesus and hate your brother. And there's no way we can say we love the brethren when we don't care about the welfare of the brethren. This church is a big church. And in a big church like this, beloved, people should not even be going for lunch. We should be staying here. All these parked vehicles, the boots of these vehicles have food. People should not be going for lunch. When God blesses you with a vehicle that can carry food, don't carry for your family alone. Carry for others. That's welfare. The general disquiet now, the general discomfort is because you don't want to share. No, I'm just saying the truth. Why did God bless you with a vehicle when you can't carry food to come and share with others? Then those who have vehicles are sharing with those who have vehicles. What is that? If you have a vehicle, don't share with those who have vehicles. Those who have vehicles can carry. Hey, I have packed lunch. You can come. I know somebody will ask, who makes you an authority on this gospel? No, it's true. And please, we are a church that should care about the welfare of others. We are here asking people come for session and they have no lunch. Please, let's get serious. In fact, deaconate should be pairing people. Asking you, do you have a vehicle? Get hold of that. Do you have a vehicle? Get hold of that. Welfare is not about death, beloved. We can't wait to die. Please, take care of us when we are alive. You're waiting for us to die, we won't eat the food. Anyway, preacher, come back. Jesus had compassion. Even Jesus could not send them away. Jesus said, the little we have, what do you have? We just have some little boy has packed lunch. Oh, beloved, packed lunch is the gospel. You must have potluck. Even in the times of Jesus, they were having packed lunch. Hey, little children carry packed lunch. Remind daddy and mommy. When a preacher preaches like this, he should be fasting. Anyway, compassion. Let's deal with compassion. You see, Jesus says, if you have all these things, but you lack compassion, it's not good. And he says, look at my life. I showed you when I saw somebody who was sick, I had compassion on them. When I saw somebody who was angry, I had compassion on them. And I expect you to have compassion. And beloved, the responsibility of doing nothing. One day, you will give an account for the nothing you did somewhere. The responsibility of doing nothing. And let me tell you something. Doing nothing is characterized and laced with lots of activity on the side. You will help nobody, but you can have meetings everywhere. A lot of meetings. Discussing nothing but helping no one. That's what we have nowadays. Too much. You discuss how you want to help people. Please, let's be practical. You see here, we have been asked, please subscribe. And I like the way the welfare leader explained. You are not subscribing and starting to complain, what about me? I am not benefiting. Who wants to benefit from death? Who? And you're saying, oh, preacher, you're talking like that because you don't know about death. I lost my dad last year. That thing is still painful to date. All the money that people could give cannot help me. So I don't want to lose my dad so that people can give me money because I am giving. Please, continue helping those who've been bereaved. Don't start these arguments of when will I benefit. No. That thing is not even beneficial. You've benefited by having your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your spouse alive. That's enough benefit. And please, the reason God has left your loved ones alive is so that you can help the others. So please help the others. Let's not have these kinds of argument. And please, again, if you are a church member, responsible church member, why don't you simply just subscribe? You subscribe to strange things and good things in the church you don't. Strange things. Please. I'm using the word please because I know, you know when you're talking to God's children, you have to beg them, even when it is for their own good. Please. This is for your own good. And what it does, let me tell you something. There's such a thing as systematic benevolence. Systematic benevolence explains that we need even to be organized in our giving. You just can't say that somebody wakes up today and says, I think church should contribute for me. No. Let's have some order. That's why there's a church department that deals with welfare. And please, members, let's identify. Where is that welfare department? Where are the members? Let me see them. If you are in welfare department, just stand up. Council members, all who are in welfare department, you exist somewhere in welfare department, stand up. Just want to see you. Okay, lower the mask a little, then return it so that we can confirm who you are. Please, church members, identify these people. And please ensure you reach out to them. Thank you. Just have your seat. Why have I asked them to stand? Let me tell you, people are dying of depression in a church when there's a welfare department. You don't need that. We are here for you. That's what welfare department stands for. Let me tell you, the Bible talks about we need to care for one another. Look at the gospel. The gospel. Go with me to the book of James chapter 1, reading from verses 27. James 1:27. James 1:27 captures my attention. I love it. James 1:27. Pure religion and undefiled religion before God and the Father is this: to visit the fatherless and the widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. Listen to that. This is pure religion. You know what we do? We care so much about unspotted, but we don't care about the first part, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction. In fact, in the book Welfare Ministry, page 35, paragraph 1, the messenger to the remnant says, what is pure religion? Christ has told us that pure religion is the exercise of pity, sympathy, and love in the home, in the church, and in the world. This is the kind of religion to teach your children. And its genuine article: teach them that they are not to center their thoughts upon themselves, but that wherever there is human need and suffering, there is a field for missionary work. Did you get that? Teach your children. Oh, but preacher, could you kindly explain teach your children? Now listen to this. We know the Lord's Prayer. Can we recite the Lord's Prayer? Our Father. Okay. Give us. Give us. Okay. You need to understand, give us. Did you say give me? Did you say give me this day? Who is us in your life? So here you are, enjoying everything the Lord has given you today without sharing. But when you are praying, you are asking for us. Listen, when you say give us this day, it means you are asking God, give me not only for myself, give me enough to share with others. And let me tell you, when God entrusts you with the goods of this world, He gives you enough to share with others. Even the poor person, you have enough to share. And you'll say, oh, wait until the day. You know the way we threaten with good intentions? Wait until the day I have a lot of money. I will share. Please, start by sharing the little you have. Give us this day our daily bread. God, give us, not give me. And so teach your children. We have a generation of selfish children coming up. Selfish. Because they see us selfish. When we can eat more than enough to spare and throw the food we can't even give others, our children are learning wastage and they are learning to be selfish. You'll find our children, they take a bite of the loaf and then they throw the rest. Biting half and throwing the rest. But give us. We must learn to share. Pure and undefiled religion is this. In fact, in welfare ministry, when you read in page 35, paragraph 2, also copied from Testimonies for the Church, volume 2, page 25, it says, pure and undefiled religion comprises of good fruits, good deeds, which are the fruits that Christ requires us to bear. Kind words, deeds of benevolence, of tender regard for the poor, the needy, and the afflicted. When hearts sympathize with hearts burdened with discouragement and grief. When the hand dispenses to the needy. When the naked are clothed. The stranger made welcome to a seat in your parlor and a place in your heart. Angels are coming very near and an answering strain is responded to in heaven. When you minister to others, angels are responding in heaven and saying, Chief has done this. Too many of us are concerned about what human beings are thinking, but God is watching. In fact, in the book of Matthew chapter 25, you've had this read over and over. I think on a welfare Sabbath, you don't need to skip Matthew 25. Matthew 25. You know the issue of the goats and the sheep. The Bible says in Matthew 25:34, then shall the king say unto those on his right hand, come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. He says, come and inherit the kingdom. Why come and inherit the kingdom? Now listen to this. He says, I'll tell you the things you did. That's why I call it the responsibility of doing nothing. In fact, I am convinced we need to be co-workers with God. Do you know something? God rained manna from heaven. Do you know that? We all know that, isn't it? Manna came from heaven. Now let me ask, believers, do you think God can still rain manna from heaven today? Think before you answer. Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible? Is it possible for God to rain manna from heaven today? But why hasn't he rained it? Because he put the manna in your pocket to give it to the others. He has rained your pockets and you don't want to share. In fact, God wants you to be part in blessing others. When he was appearing to Abraham, he says, in you shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. In other words, I want to bless the world, but I'm looking for a channel. God can do it without you. So please don't think you are hindering God's work. He can do it without you. You remember when Esther was afraid? When Esther was afraid, Mordecai told Esther, think not that you shall escape. The Lord shall bring enlargement and deliverance from elsewhere. Listen, if you don't want to give, please stop. Just leave. God will still provide for his children from elsewhere, but you will miss the blessings. God is begging you to be part of his ministry of blessing the world. Through blessing the world, you will be blessed. And that's what God is talking to us about today. In fact, when you read in Matthew 25:35, he says, the blessed ones, for I was an hungered and you gave me meat. I was thirsty and you gave me to drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. Naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came. Then shall the righteous answer him and say, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered? No, that part you've not understood, church. Walk with me. You see, when you are cooperating with God in blessing people, you don't even know what you are doing. Stop this Instagram of giving somebody 5 bob, then you have to do a selfie. No. The righteous don't even know. Listen, it's part of your DNA. In other words, you are feeding people, feeding everyone. You're not feeding only the select few. Until you can recognize that, on 15th, I fed so and so. On 22nd, I fed. No, God's children have lost track of the people they fed last Sabbath, the people they are feeding this Sabbath and next Sabbath. You don't know. You're just blessing and blessing and blessing. This issue of complaining when we are giving, let's stop it. It's lack of love in the heart. Preacher, Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart. In my, Lord, I want to be a Christian. Where? In my heart. I want to be more loving. Where? In my heart. I want to be more holy. Where? In my heart. This is the thing. When my heart is well organized, the rest of the things are perfect. We don't count how many times we visited you in prison. Listen, Lord, when did we see you not having a cloth? When did we see you thirsty? When did we see you all these things? We can't count. Today I should be making an altar call. You see those wonderful clothes, you've not worn them for the last 2 years. Go and pack them and give them out. What are you doing with things in your closet, filling your house when there are people who are walking naked? What is wrong with us? Get rid of them. Just remove them. Remove them. Next time when you go for shopping, buy an extra one, just in case there is somebody you will meet. In fact, let me tell you something about compassionate ministry. Nowadays, we say, if you give this guy 5 bob, what if he's going to sniff glue? You know those kinds of sanctified justification of not giving. Please do this. Walk with a loaf of bread in your car. When they come begging for 5 bob, you give them loaf. If they won't accept loaf, no problem. If you're afraid of giving them coins because they will go and sniff glue, please sacrifice. Say, I will be donating 1 loaf on traffic every day. You're saying, I don't get stuck in traffic. I normally walk to work. No problem. Go and buy a banana, walk with it, and give it to somebody else who is walking. Who has said compassionate ministry is only for those who can be able to drive? No, it's for all of us. Listen, when you are compassionate on foot, you will be compassionate even in an aeroplane. Don't threaten us. That wait until I get. He says, Lord, when did we see you hungry? When did we see all these things? And listen, the Bible says, when you saw a stranger and took him in, you saw the naked and clothed them. When you saw the sick or those in prison and you came to see them. That is it. And Jesus says, whatever you did to the least of these ones of your brethren, you did to me. God says this ministry is not about your brother. It's about me. You are ministering to me. When you take care of them, minister to me. Beloved, let me finish with Isaiah 58. You know, Isaiah 58 is commonly the text of the Sabbath. We labor about justifying the Sabbath using Isaiah 58. But let me tell you something. Isaiah 58 is more than the Sabbath. In fact, Isaiah 58 to me explains what I am talking about. Special Testimonies Series B number 2, page 5 says, the whole of Isaiah 58 is to be regarded as the message for this time to be given over and over again. Isaiah 58. Testimonies for the Church, volume 8, page 159 says, what saith the Lord in Isaiah 58? The whole chapter is of the highest importance. Beloved, Isaiah 58. In fact, I spent time with all these SOP writings and such. And when you go through it, in letter 76 of 1902, she says, my brethren, you need to study more carefully the 58th chapter of Isaiah. The chapter marks out the only course that we can follow with safety. So let's finish the sermon with Isaiah 58. I was supposed to end at 12:30. I have 5 minutes. But relax. Your lunch is catered for. That is called faith. Isaiah 58:1 says, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, the house of Jacob their sins. Tell the house of Jacob their sins. What are their sins? It says, yet they speak daily, and delight to know my way, as a nation that did righteousness, and forsook not the ordinance of their God. They ask of me the ordinances of justice. They take delight in approaching to God. Wherefore have we fasted, say they. And yet you see not. The church is asking. Listen, this is prayer ministries department asking. We are fasting. But we are not seeing big things happening in this church. Wherefore have we fasted? And God, you're not seeing. Why have we afflicted our souls? And you take no knowledge. Behold, in the day of your fast, you find pleasure and exact all your labors. Behold, you fast for strife and debate, and to smite with a feast of wickedness. Ye shall not fight as you do this day, to make your voice to be heard on high. Is it such a fast that I have chosen? A day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush? To spread a sackcloth under him? Wilt thou call this first an acceptable day to the Lord? Now listen to this. The flip of the coin. He says, you've been fasting, you are not eating, you are not doing this, you are not doing this. You have a list of things you don't do. Things you don't do. And by the way, I think Adventists, this is our message. We have lists of things we don't do. You're almost like the prodigal son or the lawyer who was asked, hey, you want to get eternal life? Then he says, I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As in, you know the things, do not kill, do not do this, do not do this. I have not killed anyone. But listen, the text says, as I continue to read, is this not the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bands of wickedness. So when you are fasting, loose the bands of wickedness. He says, is this not the fast that I have chosen? To undo the heavy burdens. Is this not the fast that I have chosen? To let the oppressed to go free, that you break every yoke? Listen to this. Is it not to deal your bread to the hungry? How many of us are giving bread to the hungry who are not your children and family? Don't put up your hands, because that's an altar call. How many of us have gone out of our comfort zone? Purpose, Lord, I want to give bread to the hungry. In fact, if you don't know how to do it, channel through the welfare department. I like the way Holy Communion, you still do yours quarterly? Okay. Holy Communion, there's a common offering that goes around called Msamaria Mwema. Look at the way people behave with that offering. By the way, I think, church, when Msamaria Mwema will be done next time, please read to us how much we collected. The amount of money we are giving so that it can go strictly for compassionate ministry is the least. Nothing. Please, purpose, when you are coming for Holy Communion next, purpose. You have a whole quarter to prepare for Holy Communion. Hey, don't think I'm preaching to you only. I'm preaching to myself as well. We need to purpose. It is high time we said, I am purposing this time when I am giving offering from Samaria Mwema, I am not giving the remains and the rejects. I am purposing. As in, you have a whole 3 months. If you save 500 per month, your Samaria Mwema should be 1,500. You can. Look at the amounts we give in Chama and such things. How much? It's easy to calculate. Please, Amo, if you don't know how to save money, ask AWM. They can do a seminar on how to save money for you. But listen. Listen to this. He says, is it not to deal your bread to the hungry? And listen to this. And that thou bring the poor that are cast out into your house. Listen. Let's bring the poor so that they can be able to see that the presence of the Lord is here. When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him. Now you're wondering why I was telling you that you need to bring those clothes. Bring them. If you don't know where to take them, leave them with the welfare ministry. Tell them, I don't know what to do with these clothes in my house. Do with them what you can. And that thou hide not yourself from thine own flesh. Listen. He says, when you do this, verse 8, then shall thy light break forth as the morning. Thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. Then shalt thou call, and the Lord will answer thee. Amen. Do you see the sequence? He started by saying that, listen, if you're going to fast, fast in the right way, then give, then call upon the Lord. Rushing to call upon the Lord and you are not giving. Listen, then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. You shall cry, and he shall say, here I am. If thou take away from the midst of your yoke the putting forth of the finger and speaking vanity, and if you draw out your soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity. Thy darkness shall be as noonday, and the Lord shall guide thee continually. The Lord shall satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be watered like a garden, like a spring of water whose water fail not. And they that shall be of thee. Now listen, we quickly run to this part as Adventists, but we should have known that when you do all these things, then now you can be the real Adventist. Too many Adventists are waiting for Jesus, but you're not preparing others. You're not concerned about others. He says, when you do all these things, the Lord will guide thee. The Lord will satisfy your soul in drought. And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places. Thou shalt raise up a foundation of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairers of the breach, the restorers of paths to dwell in. And if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath. The Sabbath message comes. But look at where we have put compassionate ministry. So you understand, yes, we need to be Sabbath keepers, but Sabbath keepers must be loving. If you forget everything I've said, Sabbath keepers must be loving. The responsibility of doing nothing. Let me read the last quotation from Welfare Ministry, a wonderful book, wonderful compilation, page 36, paragraph 2. It says, true sympathy between man and his fellow man is to be the sign distinguishing those who love and fear God from those who are unmindful of his law. True sympathy. That's what is going to distinguish us. Not sitting in church, but true sympathy. We can sit in church when we hate one another. You know that? I know it. Don't tell me where, but I know it. Sit in church, you hate one another. Not seeing eye to eye with one another, and you sit in church. But true sympathy, let me tell you, compassionate ministry, you can't lie about it. True sympathy is what distinguishes. God wants us to be compassionate about one another. And on top of that, I'll tell you, as I said, let's subscribe to the welfare ministry. Ask yourself, what part can I do? In the afternoon, I think there is a presentation. There's a presentation in the afternoon. Please, let's all turn up in the afternoon for the presentation. And ask all your questions and raise all your concerns. This issue of complaining somewhere about the many WhatsApp groups, please don't complain there. We are not there. Complain here. Tell us that the WhatsApp groups are many. Then tell us, I don't want too many of them. I am just going to assist. You know, we make WhatsApp groups because we do not do things in an orderly way. WhatsApp group is actually bridging the gap for what was not done in an orderly way. If as God's children, we can decide and purpose to give. In fact, I don't think even the church leadership has a problem with us requesting that, you know what, can you give us one Sabbath every month to just contribute for welfare? We are doing fundraisers to buy big things and such. Please, just give us one Sabbath every month to subscribe. And you can do it. In fact, you don't even need an organized system. You just need to commit to yourself. Let's avoid this organized system too much. Let me tell you, if the church realized that the welfare ministry kitty had so much amount, do you know you will not even be asked? You'll just be told, when a member does this, and then you'll be told, please, let's know who are members. The subscription you are being told of 100 bob is simply to know who are members. We are not saying we don't care about non-members. Even non-members, when they come, we will deal with that. But if you're a member, you're constantly coming to this church. By the way, it feels bad when a member, a Sabbath school member, not even a member, a Sabbath school member of Nairobi East is bereaved. Then you see Umoja One is handling the case. What is that? Please, when a Sabbath school member is bereaved, deal with it. That's why we want you to subscribe to welfare ministry, so that we can know who are our Sabbath school members. We want to reach out. We want to assist. You know, we also live in a generation where people are cheeky. People are doing strange things. Somebody just pretends so that he can con church members. We don't want that. So for that reason, please, let's go by organized church ministries. And organized church ministries is welfare ministry. If there is somebody out there who is troubled and you are in affliction, things are tough, please reach out to the welfare ministry and they will remember that our message today, we need to do something. God will hold you responsible for doing nothing when your brother was suffering. Just remember the responsibility of doing nothing. Let's rise up for a closing word of prayer. Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart, in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart. Lord, I want to be more loving in my. Let me make an appeal as we finish with this closing song. Is there somebody in the congregation? You're saying under conviction, you feel like you need to do more in terms of welfare ministry, and you want God to help you, that you may reach out to people out of compassion. In a special way, you just want to be prayed for. This is a dedication for compassionate ministry. Is there such a person? Come, I want to pray with you. I would say put up your hand. I'm saying, come, I want to pray with you. I want to pray with somebody who is committing that, Lord, I look at my life and I am saying, I want to be more compassionate and reach out to people. I want to make it deliberate. Compassionate ministry needs somebody to be deliberate. Please, we are not going to say, I am giving because my neighbor gave. But you're saying, Lord, in my heart, I need you to change me. I need you to help me, that I may take this more seriously. I've been a bit general in terms of compassionate ministry. But today, listening to you, Lord, I want to be more deliberate in my heart. Any person, thank you for those who come. In my heart, Lord, I want to be like Jesus in my heart, in my heart. Lord, I want to be like Jesus in my heart, in my heart.
Lord, I want to be like Jesus in my heart.
Let's pray. Loving God, look at our hearts. Search our hearts. We want to be Christians in our hearts. We want to be loving in our hearts. We want to be more committed to compassionate ministry in our hearts. God, help us that we may reach out to those whom you want to reach out to. Help us that we may learn to be co-workers with you. Thank you for your children who responded to the appeal. Very specifically, and they're saying, Lord, I look at my life. I want to be more committed in compassionate ministry. God, that's the reason they've responded. And you have heard the cry of their hearts. May you bless them. As I continue to pray, I am asking, is there somebody in the congregation, or even those who've come up front? You're saying, Lord, I have been giving in compassionate ministry, but I want to increase my giving. Put up your hand. I want to pray to such a person. Lord, by faith, I believe there are hands that have gone up. Somebody is saying, Lord, expand my territory that I may give more. Somebody is saying, Lord, you know the challenges I am going through. I'm going through a hard time right now. But God, I want to help somebody else. And for that reason, I put up my hand that I want to increase my giving. I want to increase my spirit of giving. That I will not settle for the least, but I will give as you bless me. That's why the hands have gone up. God, I pray that these who have lifted their hands, may you bless them in a special way. May you put more into their pockets. May you guide them, put more love in their hearts. God, may you help them to have more compassion. And not only to these ones, but unto all of us. Help us that we may be willing to be used of you. God, it's surprising that when we go to the book of Matthew, chapter 25, the chapter that talks about the signs that will be seen in the church in the last days, we start all the way from seeing the parable of the 10 virgins, of the preparedness of the church. But God, you close it by reminding us that there will be the sheep and the goats. And when we look at it, you say what separates the sheep and the goat is welfare ministry, compassionate ministry. How have we ministered to you in ministering to others? God bless us. Help us that we may be willing to minister to others. And God, I pray and I thank you for the welfare department of this church. Thank you for their coordination. Thank you for their organization. Thank you for the wonderful plans they have for the church. I pray, God, that may the church embrace the plans they have. God, with the blessings that they have from the church leadership, as they cooperate with the church pastor through the guidance of the church pastorate, I pray, oh Heavenly Father, that may the plans that they have to help the church members be embraced by the church members. God, I pray that you may guide us, that all these may happen in a way that will help us be able to be prepared for your second coming and your soon return. Be with us now. Bless us throughout. And God, if I said something that was not right or appropriate in your sight, forgive me. But above all, help us that each and every one of us may live practically for you, is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. The Lord bless you all. The Lord keep you all safe.